I bet you've never seen anyone look this pale before. I say it in every single video about how white I am, but I feel like this time tops them all, just because I'm blending into my cardigan, I'm blending into the white wall. Like, she look ghostly, she look transparent. So today I'm going to be showing you sort of my everyday glam, like if I'm going to be taking pictures for the gram. Oh my god, gram. Poet, and you didn't even know it. So this is my makeup for if I'm going to be taking any pictures, or if I just sort of want to get myself ready for the day instead of looking like this all the time. If I want to make myself feel a bit more put together, because obviously we are still in lockdown. Some people are going to look at this when I'm doing my makeup and probably think, that's a lot of makeup, and it is a lot of makeup, but I like wearing a lot of makeup. So if you like wearing a lot of makeup, then hopefully you'll like this. And if you don't like wearing a lot of makeup, and hopefully you like this as well. So we're going to jump straight on to today's video. I'm going to jump straight into primer. The primer that I've been loving recently is the Face Theory Ultra Glide Face Primer. I've mentioned this a few times. A silicone primer has more slip to it, meaning that when you put products on your face, it's going to help them slip around more. And if you've got oily skin, that's probably like the last thing that you want. However, because this is silicone free and more of like the moisturising side, I've noticed it just helps my makeup last longer and just stick on the face, which is what I want in a primer. I don't feel like primers are crucial in your makeup routine. I think it's just something that helps your makeup last a little bit longer. And when you've got oily skin, you definitely need that, because my makeup just likes to like slide off really easy. Gross, I know. The foundation that I wear on The foundation that I wear on an everyday basis is the L'Oreal True Match. Mine is in the shade 1.5N Linen. This foundation looks really natural on the skin, and it doesn't look like you're wearing any foundation. It's very like skin-like, so that's why I've been liking this one a lot recently. I've also been liking this foundation with a brush, which is rare for me because I'm usually like just a beauty blender kind of girl. But for this foundation, I do like using the All Rounder brush by Beauty Bay. It's got a nice sort of rounded top, it's not completely flat. And I just feel like it pushes the product into the skin really nice and still gives it that sort of skin-like finish. It doesn't soak up like a lot of the foundation like a beauty blender would do. It distributes it nice and evenly across your face. And anything that's left over, you can just bring it across your jawline and down your neck. Whatever product is left on the back of my hand, I just like to pick that up on the same brush and then stipple it across my neck, just so that everything is like the same colour and the same texture. This foundation is a little bit more warm tone than my natural skin colour, so it's going to give me some more life. So that's why I like to bring it down the neck, because obviously my neck's going to be paler than my face if not. I do like to do a little bit of cream contouring and highlighting, but it's nothing too drastic, so everyone's going to know. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is the Revolution Fast Base Foundation Stick in F10. It's so creamy, so lightweight, and you don't need to set it with powder either. You could just go over the top with a translucent powder. So I'm first going to take the Fast Base Foundation Stick and then just pop this in all of the places that I would usually contour and highlight. I feel like people are fed up of me speaking about this now. I feel like every time people watch my videos, they're going to be like, oh, she's using the same thing again. I do like to put a little bit on my jawline, just there, but not a lot. A little bit under the lip and then down the sides of the nose, but only roughly. I'm not going to be too precise with that. And then with that same brush that I've been using for my foundation, I'm going to use this to blend all that cream contour out as well. Can you see how that's just added a little bit of warmth and definition to the skin, but without looking overly oranged, overly bronzed, anything like that? It's just added a nice thin layer of warmth to the skin. So to highlight, I'm going to go in with the NYX Born to Glow concealer. This is in the shade Pale. A little trick that I did earlier when I was doing my eyebrows is I like to use the P. Louise base in 02. This has a bit of a peachy undertone, so when I'm carving out the brows, I like to bring it down here a little bit, and it's going to help cancel out any sort of darkness, any blue or purple tones. And then when I go over top with my concealer, it's going to cover it a lot easier. Because I don't know what's happening recently, but my dark circles are getting impossible to cover. I'm just going to apply a little bit of that concealer to all of the places that I want to highlight. And then I'm going to take my sponge and blend all of this out. And I like to bring it up at the corner of my eye, so it helps lift my eyes a little bit. I'm going to set everything in place using the Vichy Derma Blend setting powder. This is in the shade Transparent, I think. It comes with a little powder puff, so what I like to do is just blend out underneath my eyes again to make sure there's no creasing. And then I sort of like to press this in underneath my eyes, but using really light pressure because I don't want it to build up and get really cakey. With whatever powder's remaining in the lid, I'm going to use this to sort of set the rest of my face and just push it all into place. I feel like this powder is one of the key steps to getting such nice looking flawless skin because it's so nice and finely milled. If you didn't watch my last video of me trying the Vichy foundation and this powder, like the first impressions and the wear test, you really should go and watch it. I'll link it up here for you. It's better than Laura Mercier, I think, personally, and it's a lot cheaper as well. I think it's like, I got this for £13 in the sale and it normally retails for £18. For bronzer, I've been loving the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish bronzer. It's magnetic and my bracelets keep like sticking to it. I'm easily amused, I've got such a small brain. I'm just going to take some of that bronzer on a fluffy brush and then hit all the places that I cream contoured. The blush that I've been loving recently is from Sleek and it's in the shade Feeling Like a Snack, but this one is extremely pigmented, so I like to use a duo fibre brush with it. This one's from Beauty Bay and it's called the No Filter brush. So it's a very pink colour, it's very bright, it's very pink. It's also got a nice sort of satin finish to it. It reminds me a lot of NARS Orgasm, so if you're looking for a dupe, then I'd suggest this one here. And for everyday wear for blush, I'm not really precise as to where I want it. I kind of just dust it along the tops of my cheekbones and then put a little bit on my nose and above the brows as well, just because it gives that nice sun-kissed look. For highlight, I found a new favourite. So this is the Becca Jaclyn Hill Champagne Pop Highlighter. This is like impossible to get, but I went and looked fantastic the other day and they had like a little trio of 3 mini ones. So you've got Champagne Pop, Rose Quartz and Vanilla Quartz. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, I'm 100% buying that. So it did retail for £30 and then it was in the sale for £15 for all these 3 little mini ones. So there is a bit of a size difference in comparison to sort of like the full size one versus the mini one, but you get Champagne Pop and you do also get 2 others, so for £15 you can't really go wrong. But it's probably one of the best highlighters I've ever used, so I can understand why it's out of stock. I just like to take a little fan brush and just dust this along the tops of my cheekbones, nose, chin and above my brow. Just makes your skin look so nice and healthy. So one thing that I've been loving doing recently is taking a eyeliner brush, any brush that's sort of thin and has a nice tip to it. I just realised how that sounds. I'm going to take a brown eyeshadow. Any brown eyeshadow is fine, but I prefer one that's nice and warm toned. So I'm actually going to use the one that I use for my brows, and I'm going to take a little bit of the shadow on the end of this brush. Just tap off the excess, and then I'm going to create some freckles. So the way I like to do this is I like to put them on any blemishes that I have first. So for me, that would just be one that I've got here. Any freckles that are under the foundation as well. I also have a few small bumps on the face as well that won't go. They're not necessarily spots, but I do like to apply my freckles on top of them as well. It just makes it look more natural. And then after I've done that, I'm not really precise with where I'm putting it. I just like to dot it all over my face and then go in with my finger afterwards and just press on top of them so that they look a little bit more natural. And then when I'm doing the nose, I sort of like to contour my nose with it. So I'll focus this sort of where I put the cream bronzer earlier, and then I'll leave the centre bare. And then once you've blended it out with your finger, it sort of helps contour the nose at the same time. And then that is how I do my freckles. So I'm going to jump onto the eyes really quickly, and the palette that I'm using is the Beauty Bay Nude palette. You can use a bronzer for this if you like. If you don't have this palette, any bronzer or again any brown shade will work fine. The shade that I'm going to go into first is Bare Necessity, which is this one here, and I'm using a Morphe M433. And I'm basically just going to define the crease with this. And I'm going to focus this more on the outer corner and then bring it a little bit in above the brow. And then with that same brush, I'm going to pick up the shade Earth and focus this more on the outer corner again, just defining the eye. And then I'm going to push it up into that first shade that we used. And then whatever product's left over, I'm just going to slightly wing it out. Again, this is going to help sort of lift the eyes and make them appear less round. And then whatever product's left over, I like to run it along the lower lash line, but again, just keeping it more towards the outer corner. I'm going to pick up a flat brush now. This is the 7072 brush from P. Louise. It's just what you use to sort of carve out your brows or make any cut creases with. And I'm going to dip into the shade Delicate. And what I'm going to do with this is slightly cut the crease. So this is a more natural way of doing it. And you don't have to be really precise, and you don't have to be like a professional crease cutter or makeup artist. So I'm going to first stamp this just along the inner portion of my lid and then stop about halfway. And then with the tip of the brush, I'm going to use this to define that crease a little bit more. And then I'm going to slightly blend that into the outer corner. And this way you don't have to go in with concealer or anything just to cut the crease. You can literally just use one shadow. I'm going to take the Essence Long Lasting Eye Pencil in the shade Snow Queen, and I'm going to run this on my lower waterline. Just don't stab yourself in the eye like I just did. So I don't wear false eyelashes on a day-to-day basis, but I am going to curl my lashes and apply some mascara. The two favourite mascaras I've got is the Primark Wonder Lash Mascara. I think this is £3 and it's amazing. It makes your lashes nice and thick. And then for length, I like the Maybelline Great Lash Mascara, and I think this one's only £5 as well. So these are two really good mascaras that are amazing at volume and lengthening. So I'm going to apply these really quickly and then I'll be back to do the lips. So now that I've put mascara on, I'm going to jump straight onto the lips. So I'm using the Natural Collection lip liner in the shade Espresso. Sometimes I'll wear this just on its own with a little bit of Vaseline sort of blended into the edges and call it a day. But today I'm going to be using a gloss on top. So I'm going to line my lips. But at the Cupid spot, I'm going to draw like a straight line, and this makes your lips look a bit more like pouty. And then the edges, I'm going to keep to their natural shape. So you can keep it like this if you wanted an all matte look, but I'm going to throw on some gloss on top. So I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty lip gloss in the shade Fussy, and then just apply that over top. And then this is the finished look. So this is my everyday go-to glam if I'm going to be taking any pictures, or if I just want to again get myself ready and sort of do something with myself, make my day a little bit better by sitting and doing my makeup, because apparently that is the highlight of my life these days. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, make sure you smash it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe because it really helps me out, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!